I'm surprised I haven't compared these two yet, but today we're looking at the cheapest iPad versus the cheapest Galaxy Tab from Samsung to see which one is the better option. So let's go ahead and get started. As far as price goes, these two are some of the more affordable tablets out there. Now that Apple dropped the price down to $349 for the iPad and the Galaxy Tab starts at $219. As far as storage goes, they both start at 64 gigabytes. One advantage for the A9 Plus, if you get the version that has 128 gigabytes of storage, it goes from 4 up to 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's still cheaper than the base model iPad that only has 64 gigabytes of storage. You can also get 256 gigabytes for the iPad, but it's a lot more expensive at $500. The build quality on the iPad definitely feels a little more premium than the Galaxy Tab. The display size is pretty similar between these two. The Galaxy Tab has an 11-inch TFT LCD display at 1200 by 1920 resolution versus a 10.9-inch IPS LCD display at 1640 by 2360 resolution. You've got 90 Hz refresh rate for the Galaxy Tab versus only 60 for the iPad, but you'll also notice when they're right next to each other, the iPad has better viewing angles and just looks like better screen quality than the Galaxy Tab. Both are going to be good for watching movies, TV shows, browsing online, or playing games, but if you want the tablet with better screen quality, I would go with the iPad. Now, when I ran my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness, they were somewhat similar, 5.5 hours for the iPad versus 6 hours for the Galaxy Tab. Both of these are going to have plenty of power to last a day or two with mixed usage, especially if you turn the screen brightness down, so I don't think you can go wrong with either one when it comes to battery life. Now, software-wise, the Galaxy Tab has been updated to Android 14, One UI 6.1. The iPad is currently on iPadOS 17.5.1. So obviously they're going to be quite a bit different, and it may come down to personal preference on which one has the better software. I know for me, I like things about both. It's kind of weird that you can get Samsung DeX on the Galaxy Tab, but you don't get Stage Manager on the iPad, even though it has really good performance. You've also got a fingerprint scanner right on the power button, or Touch ID on the iPad, where you don't get that option with the Galaxy Tab. One advantage with the iPad is it has video out, so you can use an HDMI adapter to connect your iPad to a projector, external monitor, or TV without having to mess with Wi-Fi connections. Another advantage with the iPad is you can use the first gen Apple Pencil or the new USB-C Apple Pencil, which is going to be nice for taking notes, drawing, or just moving around the software. Unfortunately, the Galaxy Tab A9 Plus doesn't work with Samsung's S Pen. You would have to go up to the Tab S6 Lite for that. Good thing is the A9 Plus gets 4 years of major software updates, and the iPad typically gets about 5, so I don't think you're going to have to worry about software updates regardless of which one you go with. Performance-wise, it's going to be a pretty big advantage here for the iPad, which has the A14 Bionic chip versus the Snapdragon 695 and the Galaxy Tab. You can still do quite a bit with the Galaxy Tab, but it's pretty obvious on how much smoother and faster the iPad feels, at least in my testing. So things are going to take a little longer to load on the Galaxy Tab. Sort of the same thing with gaming. The iPad's going to have more power and can run games at higher graphics and frame rates versus the Galaxy Tab. Now, the nice thing about the Galaxy Tab is you still have a headphone jack. I believe Apple stopped doing the headphone jack with the iPad 9, so obviously you won't get that on the iPad 10. You also get 4 speakers with the Tab A9 Plus versus only 2 for the iPad, so the Galaxy Tab is going to sound quite a bit louder. Although I will admit the iPad still has pretty good sound quality in my opinion, just maybe not as loud as the Galaxy Tab. Here's a quick sample of each just to see if you can tell a difference.
Hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away, as you fade away.
Now, one advantage for the iPad is when it comes to the cameras. You can shoot up to 4K 60 frames per second for video recording on the back of the iPad versus 1080p resolution on the Galaxy Tab. The cameras on the front and back seem to be a little higher quality on the iPad. You've got a 12 megapixel wide angle on the back, 12 megapixel ultra wide on the front. The Galaxy Tab has an 8 megapixel camera on the back, 5 megapixel on the front. So if you want the tablet with better cameras, you'll definitely want to go with the iPad. Overall, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these more affordable tablets, but obviously it's gonna come down to which is more important. If you just need something to watch Netflix, YouTube, that sort of thing, the Galaxy Tab could be a good option for that. But if you want something more powerful and the ability to use a pen or stylus, the iPad's gonna be a better option for that. If you like tablets, phones, and other tech, I've got a lot more stuff that I'm working on, so you'll wanna keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishby Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.